thank you everyone for joining in today. Today we are together to talk about one very special and new product from Meta, which is called collaborative ads. And we have gathered here today to jointly talk about with AdYogi how you can leverage this product, during festive. I would like to just quickly call Anshuk as well. He's here. While most of you would know him already, just to quickly set the context that how Meta and AdYogi together have been building a lot of collaborative stuff. Last month we also rolled out one of the playbooks which captured a lot of products that have been already used and are showing success, and this is something that we talked about as next big thing in the playbook as well. So I'll just call upon Anshuk as well for quick start. Anshuk, over to you.
Thanks, Neha. Hi, everyone. A very good afternoon to all of you. And definitely a big thanks to Meta for the partnership and all the support we have got. Collaborative ads is actually a very, very innovative product from Meta. So far, we have always heard brands say that, look, if I'm selling on marketplaces like Myntra or Nykaa, how do I still use social to drive sales on these platforms? This is a question I have grappled for the last 7 years without actually giving them any answer. This is the first time when I heard about collab ads around 6 to 8 months back. I was very, very bullish about the product purely because it also bridges the gap for a marketplace and social. This is the first time you can run ads on a social platform like Meta, divert traffic to a marketplace like Myntra, and still be able to optimize your campaigns on Meta and still be able to see reporting. Of course, we have the Meta team to talk about the product more, and AdYogi will be the partner to help you implement these. So super excited about the webinar. Over to you, Neha. Look forward to the discussion.
Thank you. Just quick operational update as well. If there are any questions, you can leverage Q&A chatbot. So there is a Q&A that you would see on the screen. Just type in your questions. If there are any, there are people from Meta as well as from AdYogi who will help real time. But otherwise, we also have slotted about 15-20 minutes at the end of the session to do free-flowing discussion. But don't hold yourself for the questions, just put it there. I will now call Prateek. He heads local commerce at Meta, and he also spearheads collaborative ads for India market. So over to you, Prateek.
Thank you so much, Neha, and thank you everyone for joining in this afternoon. We really appreciate the partnership. Anshuk, thank you, and to the AdYogi team for helping us facilitate this conversation. Like Anshuk was mentioning, this is a super exciting opportunity, guys. All of you are busy building your own brands and your own D2C efforts, landing customers onto your own assets, but that will only over a period of time be able to evolve to a scale which makes it really material to your business. To be able to ride on marketplaces and run performance campaigns on marketplaces using collaborative ads is why we conceptualize this product. And hopefully, given the momentum around festive, with all the big marketplaces doing a huge festive blitzkrieg, it will give your brand that additional push to be able to ride on that and run performance campaigns, drive ROI, and measure efficacy versus just running traffic campaigns or brand campaigns and then leaving it to the universe to see what comes out of it. So that's the reason we wanted to spend this afternoon and over the next 53 odd minutes to take you through how we can actually run through this. This is the list of speakers you will be hearing from today over the next 1 hour. Neha, you've already heard kickoff. She's our agency partner. Anshuk, all of you already know. I'm next, like Neha introduced. I'm part of the e-commerce team here at Meta. I'm also joined by 3 of my colleagues from the e-commerce team here. So you'll, after me, hear from Yang Chen, who is a client partner, followed by Shalini, who's a client solutions manager, and then we'll finally have Ashutosh, who's also a CSM on the e-commerce India team. So with that, let's quickly look at the agenda and what we are looking at covering today. We're going to have Yangchen talk to us about growth of marketplaces, and she's going to talk about insights on user buying behavior. We'll then actually change gears and invite Shalini and Ashutosh to talk to us about onboarding collaborative ads and campaign setup guidelines. And then I think there's somebody who needs to come here. Thank you, Yuvan. And then we'll wind it up with best practices and we'll open it up to a discussion in the end. We have a lot to cover. So without further ado, Yangchen, can I invite you to kick it off with growth of marketplaces?
Hi, folks. Hi, thanks, Pratik, for the introduction. Before I start, you guys can hear me okay, right? Cool, awesome. Hey, just want to give a shout out to Pradeep from Myntra. He's also joined us today. I know he was not on the slide, but we've invited Pradeep for any specific questions that brands might have about Myntra and the marketplace. Pradeep is also here, joining us from Myntra. Thanks, Pradeep. So quickly jumping into, I just have like a bunch of slides. I think it's about 3 odd slides, but I think folks here who work continuously with marketplaces and their own D2C website, you guys would know this much better than, of course, all of us sitting here on the Meta side, but just wanted to reiterate a bunch of stuff, right? So we all know that the marketplace is growing in India. I think Ratesir report called out that in FY23, the GMV size was about $60 billion. So that's a massive one, which is last financial year. Obviously, this financial year, we will exit at a much bigger pie. Out of that, the good news is that out of that 60 billion GMV, the Flipkart group, of which Myntra is part of, contributed about 27 or 30 odd %, right? So that's another good news for us sitting here who wants to do collab ads with Myntra in that particular scenario. But jumping quickly in terms of how the marketplace the consumers have grown as well. We all know now that approximately about 230, slide back, yeah, about 230 to 250 million is what every report out there in India is estimating the online shopper base to be. But what I find interesting amongst this shopper base is that last financial year, which is FY23 again, about approximately 30% of them, of annual shoppers, converted into monthly shoppers or monthly online shoppers, right? So they used to shop once. The previous year, they were probably shopping once in a year online, but now, about 30% of that base is now shopping monthly, right? So that's good news for all of us sitting in this room. And what we are also seeing, and this is also very true to Meta platform as well, is that we are seeing a lot of this mature customers or audiences coming from obviously your urban centers like your Bangalore and Delhi and Bombay, but also like from tier 2 and tier 3 cities, right? Which I think a lot of us want to expand into and to get a share of wallet from those tier 2, tier 3 cities as well. So good news all around. Next slide, Neha. Cool. So this is a report that we actually commissioned, Meta commissioned very early this year. I think this was in Q2 this year. So very fresh out of the works as well. Where we tried to understand, within the e-commerce shoppers, what are the attributes or what are the things that they look out for when they want to shop online? Because obviously we are all spoiled by choices, right? We are, there are discounts, deals, etc., being thrown at us every month, almost every other week. So like, what are those attributes of specific, e-commerce website that is pulling customers like me and Shalini, who are heavy online shoppers, onto the website? So, so bunch of obviously there's a long report. So if anyone is interested to read this report in detail, we can share it later. But just wanted to share 2 slides out of that long report. One is like, if you look at the plethora of choices that we have, how do we stack rank, or how do the consumers stack rank them? So this is the stack ranking of them, right? Again, this is from a pool of respondents, like how they stack rank. And obviously, you have your big ones like the Amazon and Flipkart, which are more horizontal players because they sell everything. But if you look at more niche, which is more like fashion, BPC verticals, then you have your Myntras and the AdYogis almost neck to neck, right? Next slide. Yeah, and I think this is my last slide. So in terms of like what do these people look forward to? Why do they want to come to these e-commerce websites or apps? Not different from what you and I probably would think even intuitively. So obviously, they feel that it's very easy to browse, selection of products, etc. But I think one of the things that at least stood out for me, at least, was like in terms of delivery time, right? And convenience as well. I think the way that I look at convenience is that, for convenience of returns, right? Like I think a lot of times when we shop from like individual website, if different websites have different return orders or windows and policies. But I think because if I am shopping as a consumer from like an Amazon or a Flipkart or a AdYogi or a Myntra, it's a very, like a standardized window that you can return, exchange, and the policies are almost quite like, global across all products that they sell, right? So I think as a consumer, those are the stuff that actually calls out. So which is very interesting for us to kind of see in the survey that, that we did as well. So yeah, that was a bit about, kind of giving you context as to, why Marketplace is still thriving, why we should still partner with Marketplace. I'm going to hand it over to my colleague, Shalini, now to take us through the collaborative ad solutions that Meta offers. Over to you, Shalini.
Thanks, Yan. Can you guys hear me? Okay, great. So thanks, Yan, for that. But the previous slide, please. Yeah, just a quick introduction on why do we want to do collaborative ads. The simple answer is that we want to grow the synergy between the brands and the merchants. But the question is, why would a brand or a merchant want to do it? What is it that a merchant, say a retailer, in our case it is Myntra, would get out of it? Next slide, please. If we look at the numbers, so this was a meta-analysis done for a long period of time to see what is it that a merchant or a brand they are getting out of by running this. Why would a brand drive their high intent user to a merchant's website? The simple answer is it's a business need. Every brand is looking towards ROAS and optimizing for their ROI. And that's what this collaborative ad brings to the table. Any brand, and the statistics report that a brand which is running a collaborative ad found a 2.3x higher return on their overall advertising spend. But what is it in for a merchant? Why do they have to do the tech heavy lifting? Why should they get a brand send their traffic onto their app or website? The simple answer is it's beneficial for them. Now imagine merchants are able to get high intent users of the brand. They're coming within their apps and website, and they're not only buying one product or two product of the specific brand via which they landed on their app and app or website, but they will end up buying multiple more products. So it is beneficial for the retailer as well. In this scenario, why should a brand do it? Now imagine a scenario where brand is doing, say, $100,000 kind of a spend during the whole festive period buzz. But a retailer like a Myntra would be doing a 10x kind of a marketing buzz in the market to tap into the festive period. So brands are not only able to drive ROAS, they are also riding onto the high wave of the whole marketing buzz that all this retailer are creating, especially during the festive time. And numbers have shown that any retailers who have been running collaborative ad with a list of their either wish listed brand or any other brand who wants to work with them, they have found a 12% increase in their attributed online traffic and a 10% increase in their overall attributed online conversion. But how does this work actually? What is it that we need to do? It's very simple from a brand standpoint. Next slide, please. One thing that I missed was not only are we able to drive ROAS of the campaign, but we are also able to get new users, because for brands like, say, an Only or a Veromoda or a WN or a Aurelia, it is very important to get new user base into their pool. And it has been shown, and this is a very latest study that just got released, I think last week, wherein we saw that collaborative ad was able to drive 88% new user within a 90-day kind of a window. So they're not only getting repeat users, they're not only able to meet their ROAS goal, but they're also able to get new user into their overall customer base, which they can retarget in their BAU campaign eventually. But how do we do it? What is the tech part that a brand or a retailer needs to do from a brand standpoint? Next slide, please. From a brand standpoint, they don't actually have to do anything. There is no SDK integration. There is no pixel integration. There is absolutely no tech heavy lifting. Everything has to be done by the retailer, and Myntra is well versed with it. We have someone from Myntra and they have done it long back. So all the tech heavy lifting has been done by the merchant and anything in terms of catalog sharing, etc. Everything is done by the retailer. What brand needs to do? Brand just needs to set up the campaign and run the campaign. It's a simple campaign setup, how you generally set up any of your other campaigns on Meta dashboard. So there is no pixel integration. Once you give a go ahead, the retailer will take your business manager ID and share the catalog with you. All as brand we need to do is go to our ad account, select the catalog that has been shared by the Myntra team. Just click once more, Neha. And then you set up the campaign, set up your performance campaign with a catalog sale objective, drive your high intent user within the app on the retailer's app or website, and then you are able to see the performance. And not only are you able to see the performance at an overall holistic level, you can see it at an SKU level, at a user journey level, which are the products which were view content, which was done as an add to cart, and which were the actual products that were being bought. So this is your user, you get that intel. You get to see all the information at an SKU level on the collaborative center. On the ads manager, it works as usual. You are able to see the impression, the click, the cost that is being driven. So it's your user, which you are just driving to the merchant's app or retailer site. But at the end of the day, your information stays with you and you are able to leverage it to the best of your capability, and also use the pool who have done an add to cart but not bought a product, probably loop take that user base into your remarketing campaign and reach out to them again. Next slide, please. We'll just get started with how to get it started. So we have Myntra team over here. We have the CPC also over here who will be front ending it. We have the Myntra team over here. So once the brand says, yes, we want to go ahead with, we will initiate those mail threads and then the rest will be taken care of. The next slide is the next step of this process is once you say okay, a request will go to your BM wherein you have to accept the terms and condition. The merchant or the retailer, in our case Myntra, will be sharing the catalog ID to your BM in a new ad account. So an ad account has to be created. Now imagine we do have multiple accounts. We can have a different account for brand. We can have a different account for, say, performance. As brands, we do create that. Create one more account for your collaboration, and you can have different ad account for different retailer. Now, right now we are focusing on Myntra, but say tomorrow you want to also work with AdYogi and you want to see what are the different numbers, or say a third retailer. In that case, just create a different account for every retailer you want to work with. That account ID and the BM ID is shared with the Myntra team. They will pull all your products, create a separate catalog in the naming convention of collab cross your brand name catalog, Myntra catalog, and then that particular catalog will start populating in your BM, in your catalog manager as is. That's the simple process that we have to follow. Once you go into that ad account, it is all auto-selected when you do in the setup. You select sales as an objective. Catalog will populate over there, and then you set up the campaign for prospecting or retargeting, depending on what is your business objective at that point of time. What is our recommendation, right, as we are moving into the festive period? Is start off with a prospecting campaign and a remarketing campaign in a 60-40 or a 70-30 kind of a split, so that you do not just limit your spend and do not get all the goodness out of the media spend that you're doing. So that's all the entire setup process. There is absolutely no tech involved over here. One thing that we have to be cognitive of the fact, sometimes you might face an issue that your catalog is not coming on your catalog manager, but it's a simple toggle on button. So if you go on your catalog manager, you will see under the catalog section, there is a hide catalog segment, which is always toggled on. You have to toggle that off and your catalog will start populating. Once you go in this particular catalog, you will have to add everyone within your team you want to give access to. We can't do this for you because it's your BM and you have the access to everything. So you have to be aware of this is the step we have to follow in case you're not able to see the catalog. 80% of the time this won't happen. 80% of the time you will be able to see the catalog. Just in case if you're not able to see the catalog, follow the simplest step and you should be good to go. Moving on, what are the other best practices and how to set up the campaign is something that Ashutosh will cover. So over to you, Ashutosh.
Thank you, Shalini. Right. I think I think, do you want to give a minute for questions, or should we just proceed? Okay, yeah, got it. All right. So when we set up these campaigns, right, it's always important to, first align your goals, that whether you want to start off with a prospecting or a retargeting campaign. And essentially the way you run your standard campaigns across all your other ad accounts, those exact same principles are going to apply for running your campaigns on this account, right? So from a setup perspective, the slides that I'm going to cover, trust me, are going to seem very easy. And the fact that it's going to seem easy, it's because it is. So just because it's a new way of running your ads doesn't essentially mean that there is anything different that you have to do with the setup, barring the things that Shalini just told you. It's going to be fairly straightforward once the setup is complete. And the same principles that you apply for your other campaigns between retargeting and prospecting more or less are going to apply for this as well. So when you create your new campaigns, think of it as a broad split between retargeting and prospecting. And if you go to the next slide, we have some considerations for the between retargeting and prospecting as well. So for prospecting, always make sure that your audiences are fairly broad, right? Please don't narrow them down with multiple layers. I know it's intuitively, it makes a lot of sense that you want to target certain people with affinities and go ahead in that relatively narrower direction. But the way our products have evolved, they've performed significantly better when you use a broader targeting. So just make sure that you keep a broad targeting and refrain from excluding all your purchasers initially, right? Unless there do comes different points in time that after you've reached a certain level of maturity that you may want to have the segregation, and at that point it might be fine. Obviously that's a subjective call that you need to take at that time. But when you start, right, just refrain from excluding your purchasers, because your prospecting audiences, at least from a meta ads perspective, it's best to get as many useful signals at the initial phase, as you can, and that the purchasers are going to build a very large signals, because they help you get out of learning phase faster, because you will probably rack up those conversions much faster. Then in terms of your retargeting, you can always start with the recent visitors, that people who've come to your website or done certain activities on your platform in a certain amount of time. And again, avoid narrowing this down to a very smaller time frame as well, because you want to keep a relatively larger audience. So if you feel that when you start your campaigns at that point in time, your overall audience pool for retargeting is very small, that's just an indication that you need to prospect a bit more. So you start off with your mid funnel, upper funnel, depending on your business needs at that point in time. Where do you need to allocate those monies? Build that audience and then retarget them. So this way, overall, you can, with using a very holistic full funnel approach, you'll see tremendous results overall when you work on collaborative ads, right? So if we move on to the next slide, right, there are different ad formats also which you can start off with. We have standard carousel formats, collection ads, and even now we have reels as well. So when you start off, right, there will be a catalog which will be shared. So the easiest setup is to set up your catalog ads. So go ahead, start with the carousel ads, reap the benefits from there. Then as and when you see fit, give collection ads a shot, depending on what you need. If there is a need for certain amount of broader, say, brand-ish communication that you need to communicate through the first post, or if there are call-outs that you want to make your creative more attractive, then a collection ad might also work. And there are always reels, right? So reels will always help you with the upper funnel efforts. So across these three, as I communicated with you earlier as well, right? So you need to have a full funnel approach. These three ad formats will also help you achieve that, right? So let's move on to the next slide. Now, your optimization events are also going to be very important in this case, right? So the purchase event is your most important one, right? And those are the campaigns which will definitely drive you the maximum amount of conversions. So you can have prospecting campaigns optimizing for purchase, and retargeting campaigns which will optimize for purchase. But across the board, right, the one that we don't really recommend is link clicks, but you might have certain traffic objectives at certain different points in time. So it's a call that you can take. We can help you out in ideating over that as well. But for the most part, after purchase, when you see that your audiences are saturating, you're not really building those up as fast as you would have hoped. If you think that your retargeting audiences even after a week of running the campaigns at a sizable budget haven't really matured to that extent, then try optimizing for a slightly higher funnel event, right? Go to add to cart, go to view content, And these should be able to get you the 50 conversions to get your campaigns out of learning phase. Now, see, the thing is, give these campaigns a fair shot, right? So don't don't try to limit the budgets, don't try to limit the scale, and then take a quick call on whether or not this is working for you or not. The campaign needs to follow the best practices, right? And you need to give it enough time after it comes out of the learning phase, so that there is enough time to understand what exactly is the benefit that you're getting out of it. And given the number of advertisers who've shown resilience across this, and actually followed the best practices that we've been suggesting, we've seen spectacular results. So we expect the same across all your accounts as well, as long as you follow the best practices. Keep your campaigns out of learning phase as much as possible. Right, let's go to the next slide. When you're reporting these numbers on your ads manager panel, right, don't look at your standard results column, because that won't give you the right picture. That's essentially numbers for your own ad account or your other pixel. For your shared ad account, right, you need to select your purchases with shared items. So you go over there in the drop down, you click on customize columns, and then you just type shared. So these two items will pop up. Once you get this, just select these two check boxes which we've highlighted in orange, right? And then press OK. After this, you'll see all of the results that you're seeing from the shared catalog. So all of the items that the retailer would have shared with you via their catalog, this is the results of those specific products, and a direct understanding helps produce a direct understanding of how successful your campaign has been. Right, and lastly, we also help you understand the performance across your SKUs. So your product level reporting tool helps you understand the amount, the revenue that you've got, the number of products that you have sold, and the number of add to carts that have taken place for certain products. This can be a valuable insight, right? Because if you see, looking at a funnel, right, X add to carts, Y conversions, Z then is there a disconnect between these for certain amount of products, right? If I have say a wireless mouse and a keyboard, so which is selling more, right? People are adding to cart the mouse more, but not really purchasing it. So maybe that's not the best product, for this collaboration. Maybe change it up. So those kinds of insights are what you can get from this dashboard, and you should be able to optimize the campaigns a lot more efficiently. Yeah. So with that, over to you, Neha. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I think I will take a quick pause for you all to actually gather the way that we have actually structured this, while we will talk about best practices on collaborative ads, which is mostly in terms of, now if you go ahead with collaborative ads, there are a few things that you can always take care of. But you would also appreciate the fact that while just the catalog sharing is happening by Myntra in this case, rest everything that you have been running as part of your BAU campaigns, because most of you that are there on the call know how collaborative ads work, know how catalog ads work, and most of the best practices are already being followed by AdYogi and yourself. So most of these basic optimization techniques would remain the same, which AdYogi will anyway take care of most of those things. But like Ashutosh mentioned, this is a product where you'll have to give slight time. Do not judge it like a day or two later. Let campaign do, learning phase 50 conversions, and then give it some time. So that you are able to judge right metrics around the campaign. So with that, I'll just quickly take you through best practices. Not going to take too much time on this because most of these are going to anyway take care by AdYogi. So this is just one quick case study that I wanted to bring in where Nivea men in Thailand did with Lazada. Lazada is one of the two top marketplaces in Singapore and Southeast Asia. So Shopee and Lazada are two big marketplaces that cater to that market. And Nivea ran this with Lazada. Now, if you would see, all the metrics that are there on, right hand side are all staggering. So they saw 2.8x increase in top of mind awareness for men between 18 to 24-year-old. One of the most difficult TG to move this matrix from. 3.5x increase in purchase intent, or 81% higher view content action than business as usual that collaborative ads drove for them, or 64% higher purchase action than business as usual. So collaborative ads in totality is giving incremental numbers. So while you are running your BAU campaigns, collaborative ads essentially will be on top of that, and not really, cutting out your BAU campaign and then investing on collaborative ads. It's going to stand on top of your BAU campaign. So just quick recommendation. I think objective is pretty much clear. While if you choose to do upper funnel, then you can always choose that. But our recommendation for collaborative ads is to run on sales objective. You can choose between prospecting and retargeting. So both of these need to go hand in hand. You should not just be leveraging this for retargeting. You should use this for prospecting as much as you would want to, leverage this for remarketing. All lower funnel events, you should choose where you are able to get 50 conversions for a week, like Ashutosh mentioned already, right? If you are not getting 50 conversions in a week for purchases, which means you need to optimize for add to cart. If you are not getting 50 per week, then you need to move to view content. So that's the funnel. But I know most of the people here who are part of this call are easily getting 50 conversions. But this is just a guidance in case there is a high ticket item where you are not getting 50 conversions. Then this is the follow matrix that you need to follow. In terms of bidding, placement, ad format, creative, I think most of these you are already leveraging. Just ensure that you are using very creative where there is some call to action that you are able to see from consumers. Because it's festive season, most of the brands would run, and most of you all would run sales or some discounts. So ensure all of that is updated so that you are able to leverage that wave as well when you are running it on Myntra. And how do you set up? Again, tips for brands to get started. Most of these are covered by Shalini already, but just concentrating all of this in one slide. That use broader set, do not minimize audience, which intuitively comes like, let's do a lot of interest and a lot of filters that we think would work. Our algorithms have also evolved in a way where broad targeting kind of gives system more leeway to reach out to relevant potential customer base. So do not niche the audience too much. Conversion event, I think we spoke about it, 50 conversions for learning and optimizing, and not judging the campaign before that. And creative, I think creative, 56% of your sales that happen are driven by creative. So that's the number that, Meta sees, that how important creative is. So ensure that, creatives are all up to date. One of the questions that we often hear, that if we are running this as a partnership with retailer, do they get to see, what as a brand you get to see? So this is just a quick comparison on, what brands are able to see. Brands are able to see everything in detail, SKU by SKU, in terms of clicks, content views, value and number of add to carts, purchases, and specific SKUs of brand products which are added to cart and purchased. Versus retailers on the left side, they see aggregated numbers. So total number of add to carts, total purchase conversion value, or SKU level breakdown for all purchases. So the granularity that as a brand you will see, retailer will see aggregated number. So that's the difference that brands would be able to see in collaborative ads. So this is from my side in terms of best practice. Now I would invite Anshuk. He will take you all through what's next as a next step. And I hope that you are able to grasp on the product itself. And over to you, Anshuk. And let me know when you want to move to the next slide.
Okay. Thanks, Neha. I think a big thanks to Prateek, Shalini, Ashutosh, and Yanchin as well for explaining the product so well. I really like that point where Prateek mentioned that so far you could do branding on social and take people to marketplace, but this is the first time that you can actually do performance marketing on platform like Meta and still take people to marketplace like Myntra. Just to add to that, I think very valid point that this is sort of on top of BAU. So if you're running business as usual campaigns, you can add collab ads on top of it. Plus also to call it out, Myntra BFF is starting very soon. And I know most of the brands today here are already on Myntra. So what we have done is we have actually come up with some sort of a very sort of a one plan for the festive season. It's a fixed timeline plan, starts on 15th of October, which is when the Myntra BFF is going to be in full sway, and ends on 14th of November. The reason we have done some sort of a one-time plan is because we are in the middle of the festive season. We, of course, have very time limitations. So we'd want brands to sort of pilot it for a month period. Post that, of course, like Neha also mentioned, that collab ads can be run on a continuous basis. So just to sort of lay it out very clearly to everybody on the forum here, we are running against slightly tight timelines. The BFF is not going to get delayed. It's already launching on 7th of October. This is the Myntra Big Fashion Festival. So what we have put together is a timeline of what is next. Happy to answer any questions after this webinar, during the webinar as well. But we would highly urge the brand POCs to present here to give us some sort of a consent by 6th of October. If you're willing to participate in this one-time festive deal, let AdYogi know. We are, of course, in touch with all of you. We will then post the consent. We'll get in sync with both Meta and Myntra starting October 9th. The idea is we will start getting the process of catalog sync from Myntra to the ad account. We'll also do the pricing contract from the AdYogi side, just to make sure that we are up and running in terms of the billing. The setup of the account will happen by 13th, which is a new ad account and a new catalog. We'll share the campaign strategy with the brands available here, and the go live will happen on October 15th. The campaigns, like I said, will run from October 15th to November 14th. We will, of course, provide support during the duration, any optimization which needs to be done. Like we spoke about budget between prospecting and remarketing. So we'll make sure that we are able to optimize between the two. There could be multiple prospecting campaigns we may want to set up. So entire account management will be done by the AdYogi team with support from Meta. Happy to answer any questions as well. Just, I think, 2 points which I wanted to add to this. One is a little tactical point, that a new ad account which needs to be created for this, like we spoke about earlier in the webinar. So if you already have a credit line from Meta, which means your business manager is connected to a credit line, then you can add an ad account within the credit line. So it sort of picks up the budget from the same credit line. If you, however, do not have a credit line from Meta and you're currently using AdYogi credit line, then we can plug your ad account within the AdYogi credit line. But we'd, of course, sort of need an advance payment from the brand side, which is something we can discuss during the billing process. The reason we don't recommend a prepaid ad account for this exercise is because there are budget restrictions in a prepaid ad account, and it's a fixed timeline, 30-day marathon sort of a campaign. So we would not want budgets to be restricted during this time. We are open to questions now. Over to you, Neha.
Thanks, Anshuk. Neha,
Yes. Yes, I will stop sharing, and if there are any questions, happy to take them.
Before we get into the chat box Q&A, I just want to bring Pradeep to the forum to ask devil's advocate, basically, to ask some of the things. Why is a Myntra doing it? What is it that he's observing when brands are going live? Because a lot of my brands went live during the EOSS sale, and so they saw like a huge uplift in their ROAS number. It was like a 5 or a 6x kind of a ROAS number. So Pradeep, do tell us that why is it that Myntra is ready to do all the tech heavy lifting, and what is it that you are gaining out of it? That is number one. On the second part, these are the brands that we are collaborating. Are there also brands that are reaching out to you directly, say, to do collab ad with you, and how are you taking that as well? Pradeep, yes.
Yeah. Hey, hi. Hi, just to answer your first point, right? I think I can't really mention brands right now, right? So I'll just vaguely mention you how the brands that we have onboarded or that have reached out to us, we have seen them gaining good ROAS. Like, let's say, if I have to give you a number, it's around like 7 or something for a certain brand. And over time, it has jumped, right? Like, if it started from 5, it has jumped to 7. So after collab, the number has actually improved for these brands. At least that's what we have observed from the collab dashboard from our side. And it also brings in a lot of visibility for the brands itself, right? Like for next brand, let's say if they do collab ads with Myntra, they can just launch ads from their handle and they'll run it on Myntra. The whole, what do you say, uh, journey itself benefits both the parties, be it the brand, be it Myntra, because they are listed on Myntra. And anything during like a sale event, like say for BFF, for example, it's basically a win-win situation for both parties, right? Since they get all the products sold on Myntra and they get the brand visibility and all the revenues being gained. So a win-win situation, right? And to answer your first point. Second point is you mentioned how brands are approaching us, right? It is through, let's say, Meta POCs. Some brands have reached out through other contacts. So we typically take requests. We get them onboarded. I think, like it was mentioned in the slides, right? You contact them through Meta POCs. It will have a little time delay of checking how the BMID is shared. We will check which catalog segment is required. Check which brand is actually listed, and then we go ahead with it, right?
Got it. Thanks, Pradeep. That helps. And the reason why I was asking this question is that Myntra team themselves has Pradeep, who helps us with all the things, and Prateek has a question. So they are also equally invested. Hence, you will get an immediate. So Anshu called out about the strict timeline that we are working towards. But the guarantee is that even with the strict timeline that we have full commitment from both Meta POC brand, AdYogi team, as well as Myntra team, that within the time frame, we should be able to take whichever brands want to go live with Myntra. Over to you, Prateek.
Thank you, Shalini. One is a call out. So, guys, the reason we're doing this partnership with Myntra and AdYogi is because the timing was just perfect, right? With Myntra BFF, there can't be a better time to test out a new product like this and see the efficacy and see your campaigns actually work well for you as a high performance ROAS campaign. So let's, take a leap of faith. There are coupons where we can support you on both the slabs that Anshuk was showing you earlier. Let's just test waters out. This is not a one-time effort. Okay, while the sale will get over after that, collab ads is going to become like, it's going to be an always on effort for you. There'll be a BAU that you can run where Myntra will continue to support those campaigns along with AdYogi. And then what happens is the next time you have an end of season sale, which say Myntra does in the month of December, by then you would have already tested waters. You know what BAU and what a mega sale day kind of an event like BFF can get for you. And you can start baking that in your planning cycle as you think about next year and beyond. So it becomes almost like a slug fit in your entire, scaling up journey, saying this is what Myntra is bringing to the table for me, both from an always on as well as from a sale bump up perspective. So which is why the timing is very, very perfect. Would encourage you to take a leap of faith and try this product. Trust me, with all of us batting for it, you're in good hands. We need you to say yes and see how this goes. Pradeep, I had one question for you. If a brand is already onboarded with Myntra and you're already selling that brand on Myntra, what are the timelines there from a GTM perspective from the time that Anshuk showed on his entire timeline versus somebody who is not currently selling on Myntra at all? And if it's a new brand association, I'm guessing there'll be additional paperwork required for the latter. Typically, what kind of timeframes are we looking at for both of these?
Got it. Okay. So to answer your question, right? Like if the brand has already been onboarded, it will typically take like few days, right? Once the mail is shot requesting for the catalog segment with the exact BMID which is required.
Correct.
Right. Once the BMID is shared, I or anyone from the team, like we can just share the catalog segment directly with the brand, and the backend process of setting up the account and all would be already done by them. So once the catalog segment is done, and as per the PPT, right, you just need to toggle on and everything is good to go. If the brand is not onboarded, then what happens is there typically might be a time frame of, let's say, 2 weeks or so, because that whole process of getting onboarded is taken care of by another team, right? Like you mentioned, it might be different paperwork, it might be contacting vendors and whatnot. I can't really commit a timeline for you, but I'm just giving you an estimate of, let's say, 2 weeks. Once that is done and you start seeing that brand on our site, right, in the catalog feed, whatever you want to call it, then we can do the BM ID request, then the catalog segment comes. Yeah.
Super.
Yes. I think
Thank
one
you.
of
That is
the
helpful. Yeah.
best part about this collaboration is also that we have chosen only those brands for now who are on the call are part of Myntra, given that it's such a short timeline. While if there are any brands that, if there's anyone who's part of this call, not there, we can obviously take it, during the course of the month. But this group, most likely 99.9% is present on Myntra, so that we are able to catch that timeline. Most of the answers we are answering on Q&A chat. If there's anyone who wants to probably speak and wants to ask something, just raise your hand and we'll allow you to talk. We are well ahead in time, so we have got 10 minutes in case you have any questions. We totally understand it's a new product which you might be hearing for the first time. Few of you might be hearing for the first time, but like Prateek said, trust us, you are in good hands, and we all hope for good festive with this product as well.
I just want to add one point, Neha. I think we spoke about being able to do conversion campaigns on Myntra. I think one very interesting aspect of this collab ads, which sort of got covered in the deck also, is you can actually remarket people who would have seen your brand on Myntra or added your products on Myntra. You could now remarket them on Meta, right? And we have seen that dynamic remarketing is one of the most powerful features for a D2C brand today. And the conversion rates are really high when you remarket your view content dropouts and cart dropouts. So the same synergy can now be done with the collab ads. I strongly believe the ROS on that is going to be many-fold higher than the prospecting as well. So that's an opportunity which a brand currently absolutely does not have access to if they are not running collab ads.
Yes,
There is,
perfect.
thanks, Anshuk. There's one more thing that I want to answer to the larger brand over here. What is the minimum AOV or the average selling price point of the product that you want to sell? What we have typically seen is that a higher AOV product would lead to, for you to get a better ROAS. That's a given. Like, for example, if I'm selling a 10 rupee, say, ice cream on a Blinkit, that might struggle. But if your AOV is anything above 500 to an 800, you will get a better ROAS. Industry standard says, or a lot of readings have said, that what do users tend to buy? They try to buy products around 800 to 1200 in the fashion vertical, because these are fast fashion. The user or the TG that we are trying to reach are not someone who's going to keep a silk sari for 10 years. So the AOV of the product that they would be looking forward will be 800 to, say, or 1200. That's what we have typically seen best selling catalog, so to speak. So it's okay to go ahead with that. Having said that, what if my AOV of the product or the maximum of the product is, say, 500 or 600? Now is the time to test it out. For a simple reason that Myntra is equally invested. Festive is coming around the corner. There will be a lot of noise in the market. So how do you break through the clutter so that you keep maintaining your business objective even during a high competitive festive period? So yes, we can start those campaigns right now as per the timeline that we have discussed, and we can see the results. And given that it's festive, it should work. Like, if I can give 100% guarantee, I would, but I don't know how the campaigns are being set up. But having said that, it should ideally work. We have seen it work during the EOSS for majority of the brands. So yeah.
And
I
which is
think
the entire performance prowess of AdYogi also comes in, right? So you're actually in safe hands because you're not within the guardrails of what we just called out. and the AdYogi team is really well adept at helping you set up those campaigns, and we are there to help support and cross-validate that the setup is being set up for success, literally. So don't worry about that. I think this is a good combination that I genuinely personally feel quite confident about. So we should be able to do justice to it. Yeah, sorry, you were saying something.
Yeah, no, I was just adding to the point that Shalini spoke about the lowest AOV, which will get you success, but most of the brands here range between 1,000 to 5,000, which is a very good sweet spot to get good ROAS. But there was just one question for 500 rupees. So we just wanted to capture that it is still okay, but anything between 1,000 to 5,000 is a recipe for success for sure, while you can obviously start with 500 as well. Okay. I think most of the questions have been answered. The next quick thing that we would request all brands here is to just give consent to AdYogi team. And if you want to discuss pricing, fees, etc., anything on commercials, I saw a couple of questions, you can directly do it with them. Our intent from Meta was have minimum budgets in a way where the product also sees light of the day in terms of number of conversions during the weekend, in the month, and also give back some Meta coupons so as to give your effective campaign budget lower. Like for silver, effective pricing essentially is 7 lakhs, or for gold is essentially just 13 lakhs, right? So which is something that we feel is minimum required to see success of the product as well. So we really look forward for a lot of participation from you all. I think Yuan is anyway sharing his ID where you can give your consent or any further clarification that you may require. So you can all reach out to him. Okay, cool. Yes, I think Khushbu, you have your hand raised. Yes, Khushbu.
Hi. I just want to add a point to everything that all of you have mentioned.
You can
And
introduce yourself first. I
Yes.
don't think that.
Yes, I'll come to that. So hi, I'm from Myntra's team. And I had digital marketing, performance marketing at Myntra. And I think I've heard a lot of good points that we all have made, and the questions that has come on the Q&A section that we spoke about. Just one thing that might help the larger audience. We have worked with almost 40 plus brands on collab so far. We have brands who are spending crores of budget with us every month. And I'm sure they're seeing that value out of running collab ads with us, because we are flooded with the relevant traffic for all the D2C brands. And especially during the time of BFF, when we also put up a lot of money, we also invest a lot of money to scale up the traffic, to get more relevant audiences, to make them purchase with the offers, with the exciting deals and offers. So yes, it's the great time for you to try out what collab can offer you. It's a very secure platform for both the parties, so there is no fear of any kind of misuse that can happen. Very safe environment where you can get a lot of insights about what kind of products are being purchased while you have out of your entire catalog, which is a top selling product. All of that you can also gain insight as. So I have a lot of faith from last almost a year that we have opened up this collab piece with Meta. So please give it a try and let us know how do you feel about it.
Perfect. I think that was perfect closure, Khushbu. Thanks for that. We really look forward to engaging more on this product team, and we really look forward for a lot of participation this week in terms of consent to go ahead with. And really thank to all the speakers as well as AdYogi team to arrange this session. I think this was one of the very focused sessions that we built it out together with AdYogi. So really hoping for greater successes and good festive with this product as well. Cool.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Have a good rest of the day and week. Thank you, everyone.
Wish us all a happy festive. I think this is going to be an incredible festive with all the excitement we have seen.
Absolutely.
So hoping for the best.
No, absolutely. And so a very happy festive, very happy, Navratra, Dussehra, Diwali, all the way up to Christmas and New Year's, because festive goes all the way up to this entire quarter, right? So wishing all of you, your families, and your businesses the very best for festive. See you on the other side. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.